Welcome back, everyone, to another week at DroneDJ. And just when you thought we've got enough Mini 3 news, now finally I got my two
What's up?
weeks overdue. Finally got my review units. I'm gonna be unboxing these in the afternoon. It has updated the Mini 3 to 10-bit. So let me just share one of my favorite channel.
And there's
And what
that
did they say about it?
it pretty much one more knockdown on my comparison between Air 2S and Mini 3, because that was one thing that was like, oh, I guess it has like interesting, like it has more video options, or it has like more color options, and then like they released 10-bit. I'm like, never mind. Okay, that's one less thing that's Air 2S is better at.
So you can see initially this was 8-bit, all the video specs there. And yesterday, after the firmware release, this went up to 10-bit, which is similar to the Air 2S. So now we've got the bit depth that basically gives you a lot more room in post production. So now I'm looking forward to even reviewing the unit, because after we already covered the specs, it's like, what else can you have? But obviously there's always something new from DJI.
Yeah, and I think this brings it more like what Air. I don't think we're expecting an Air 3 this year, and maybe next year. So like it's really at the point where like I know they had the Air 2 on sale for a while, and practically you shouldn't get an Air 2, you should get a Mini 3. But like Air 2S is not like even gonna get slashed in price, or slashed in their market share with the Mini 3, because it has a lot of the same features, unless you really need a faster moving drone, which is the only thing I can think of right now that shoots faster. Or I mean, it has a 1-inch sensor, a slightly larger sensor, which it does produce very great photos.
Well, I know I'm
They're
gonna
both very
go.
great drones.
I'm gonna go visit a few of the landmark spots here over the weekend, and compare. I still have my Mavic 2 Pro because, like we said, Mavic 3 still has some GPS issues here and there. But I will do some comparison videos with Mavic 2 Pro versus 10-bit versus Mini 3 and see what happens. And yes, along the line with availability, if you check out DJI's official website right now, the shipping date for Mini 3 got changed. And
Yeah.
I wonder if, like, because DJI did say there were limited stock, so I wonder if those who placed the pre-order first, were those considered May 31st shipping, and then from now on, the later on batches will be pushed because of production schedule. That I don't know. I mean, I'm still waiting for the actual batch order for my own company on the shopping side, right, on getting those to our students. So I guess we'll see. I was told last week when we placed the order, I was told that the first DJI calls it a street date. So I was told that we should expect it before end of the May. I haven't seen any updates, so I guess we'll see if the retail shops would get them earlier at this point.
Well, what I'm seeing, a lot of people in Europe are getting them just fine. Like it seems like their local shops and Amazon are be able to ship and deliver
But
them
yeah, they were the
within
ones
weeks.
who even leaked the full news, right?
Yeah, everyone had them days beforehand, and now when actually orders are up on them, like people are ordering them, they're getting them within weeks, and they're getting
odd because normally you see states, you see North America gets them first, right?
Yeah, I wonder if there was like some issue, like someone messed up and like actually sent more
Gotta
to
ship
Europe,
yourself.
and they sent them too early or something like that. Like,
I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah, because that's the only thing I imagine. Like, how does all these European store? I mean, how do all these European stores have so many of them, and they're getting them so much earlier, and they're getting them out to customers, and DJI still can't ship them themselves? So you would expect DJI to be able to ship them first before any other third-party stores.
Overheats. And the whole Mini series always had the concern for overheats. But to me, that was when I had the drone just on the table, right? Like if I'm going through setup, updating firmware, if I put it just on the table and have it on, then yes, it does get really hot. I haven't had any issues with it flying, the actual drone outside, even in the summer under the heat. So I guess we'll see.
I did a 30-minute flight. I did an actual like test of like almost to the battery's death, like just flying back and forth between on a soccer field, and it came back. It was warm, but like I didn't get an overheat warning. I never got anything about it. Like the battery was warm and the body was like slightly warm. You can tell, but like it wasn't there wasn't any issues with it. I was also flying quite slow, so I'm assuming if you're flying faster, it'll be more airflow over and it'll cool down faster. So I don't think there should be any overheating issues.
Well, I wonder if humidity comes into play too. We haven't.
Yeah, and like how much wind and like how cool the air is, and
Yeah.
I think I did it on a relatively calm day. So,
But when you fly, normally even just downwash from the drone itself gives it ventilation.
Oh yeah.
It's only I find for me it's only when I just had it on the table on the solid surface for a while, then it gets really warm.
Yeah, like that was like, and it was like, I don't know, like that was like pushing like, I think it was like over almost 40 minutes on flying. So like, how often are you going to actually be in the air flying continuously for 40 minutes straight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll say that again, to me, the drone can take weather conditions way more harsher than pilots. If I'm standing literally under the heat for 30 minutes just flying this, I wouldn't like it. I would have the trunk of my car open, right, and blast the AC at myself and use it as a shade if I didn't have shade around.
Make one drop of water and it start melting.
Yeah, there you go. And on top of that is, let's say if you get a regular RC and if you put your iPhone or your iPad, right, those ones would overheat a lot faster than your drone if you just have it directly under sun.
Yeah, whenever I'm flying, it gets so hot.
And it will shut itself down. Like it would almost freeze, right?
Well, yeah, and then you start seeing the screen gets dimmer, and then you can't really see your things about it, and like, yeah, that's why like I've been thoroughly enjoying using the RC, and I was supposed to get a comparison between the RC and RC Pro this week, but apparently my RC Pro doesn't work that well, so and I have to probably get a new one. But no, I've been loving the smartphone or the inbuilt screen. Yeah, instead of smartphones.
Along other news for drone leaks, I guess we had 2 more leaks this week. First is the new gimbal RS3. It's got leaked photos showing the newer gimbal. Is this going to be on the Inspire 3?
No, this is the handheld gimbal.
This is but I mean like when they released the Inspire 3, would this be compatible?
I don't think so. They don't. These are usually the handheld gimbals. I don't think they have. They put these gimbals. I mean, that would be interesting.
That would be nice, right?
That would be crazy to be able to put any camera on it if it can hold the weight.
That's the one thing I always wanted from DJI. It would be nice if your handheld gimbal would just swap with the drone, like the drone camera gimbal.
Yeah, and it's also like there's not a whole much different. Like if you look at this and you compare it to the RS2. Like it looks almost exactly the same. There's really not much difference. Jeff Benjamin from 9to5 Mac, he has one, the RS2, and he's been like he's just gotten like used to it, and like he's really comfortable with it. And he's like, I don't know what would you even like upgrade. And he like maybe add some stuff to from the DJI 4D, Ronin 4D. Which would be interesting. Like they could add LiDAR, like the LiDAR focusing, autofocus. Right.
But 4D has built-in camera. This is just a standalone gimbal.
Yeah, like some of the technology from the 4D, like some of like the LiDAR autofocusing, like maybe find a way to put on your camera or on like one of the side, smart connect, easy connect things. Or
I just wish they made more accessories and a lot. So aside from DJI drones, if they can make the quick release, like we have movies from FreeFly, right? And it's the quick release cap from the top. So I can detach it from a drone. I can put it on, handheld. I can put it on a car mount. I can put it on a tripod head. It just became so much more versatile. I can put it on a motion light slider, right, which is great for motionless time lapse. Or I find just if you're doing some corporate shoot and you're in a factory or in a workplace where people aren't used to having cameras around them, I love just putting the camera and gimbal on like either tripod or motionless slider and walk away, right? And then people feel like no one's there filming them while you're remote controlling it, and just people are a lot more natural.
Yeah.
Like I said, I really wish DJI made their gimbals more versatile rather than just handheld. I really wish they made it, just the connecting points so you can connect to them.
Well, I know it has some sort of connecting point, like if you on the image, like on the top of it, like that doesn't include the handle. Like the handle can be taken off, and I know you can put those on those things on like car mounts and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't have enough experience. I've never really used a handheld gimbal. Not necessarily like a video person, so but
So,
this is I think this is supposed to come out later this year, RS3. So hopefully maybe RSC3, because
my
that'd be
least
something I'd be
favorite
more
use.
interested in.
So my least favorite use of the gimbals since the beginning of time was handheld. You
Mhm.
know how freaking tough it is to
Oh
actually
yeah,
hand holding it, especially if you're on the film set, with video camera lens and your full focus, everything on, right? It becomes really heavy. Like it's 10 pound plus on that whole rig. So that's
hmm
why you see the Steadicam rigs or the different body rigs, right? With
yeah,
the extension comes in that hooks up to the top, because otherwise you just won't be able to do like a 12-15 hour shoot day with all of this on in your hands, and
that
the whole weight is in your hands, right?
yeah, that was Derek Wise, who was with me at CES. He was doing video, and he had a gimbal, a handheld gimbal, the entire time, and he was just like, we would do like a 10-minute interview with someone at a booth, and he'd just be like, we gotta cut, you can't be doing 10-minute interviews like like every single time. You just can't keep it doing one.
Wow, that's where the Osmo Pocket comes in handy.
That's I want one so bad. Not gonna lie. I gotta reach out to X Dynamics to see how their like Micro Four Thirds hand gimbal is coming, because that's the one I want really bad.
Yeah, I love my Osmo Pocket too.
Yeah, they're definitely. I saw so many people out there with them. Like, that's so smart to have one.
Next one up the list. We talked about earlier when we suspected the 2022's new drones, and we said there may be a mini FPV. So the new leak is a DJI Avata. Looks like some kind of semi-hoop drone, and right now it's just leaked, so obviously nothing is confirmed. This definitely looks like potentially, the mini FPV we were suspecting.
Yeah, this is definitely a change in kind of like the last couple of drones that DJs have come out with a more standard looking camera drone. And I bet a lot of people are really excited. I have no experience with the FPV drone, no experience with the Cine Whoop. So if I get a review of this, expect a lot of video footage of me crashing it. I'm super excited to try it out though. If it is like coming out later this year, I think it's June, July already.
Suspected to be between July
Yeah,
and August, but
July and August sounds
if
more
we look
like
at the
it.
current shipping date of Mini3, then it's July, August announcement date or product availability date. We still don't know, right?
Yeah, and there are leaked photos of it, and it doesn't look anything really like the renders. If you want to pull up maybe if you have the article for the leaked images, but it looks like a weird, like kind of like because usually Cinewebs have like the front facing camera, right, for your goggles, and then they have like a more like upward facing camera for when you're moving around, because you're usually tilted forward, and it's like, hey, you had to find someone from that. Yeah, right there on the bottom. Yeah, right there. Usually have like some sort of like action camera that's tilted up more, and they don't necessarily have it, but it looks like maybe the front, like there's two cameras on the front and one's on a gimbal, that at least like a up down, not 3-axis or anything like that we normally see, but like one dimension gimbal that could do the same. I don't know. It looks, obviously DJI doing a Cineweb is going to be much more, they're going to try to do it, as good as possible and more in-house rather than
I
just
wonder
making
if
like
you
a
can just put
platform.
the GoPro on top.
I'm sure there's probably going to be connections made for GoPros. 100%. Yeah, easily. You can probably 3D print something, or if they don't, it does look like there is like some sort of mount on the leaked photo of it that you can maybe add things to it, but I can't tell. It also looks like a very early production of it as
I
well.
do like the Cine Hoop design. I do like the enclosed propeller design, especially if you fly FPV, you're going around, trees, objects, and flying through spaces. This will definitely make me feel a lot more comfortable. I still haven't repaired my DJI FPV. I still have a broken arm. And I can tell you, if you never flown FPV, it does take time. It's a learning curve.
Yeah, that's like the next step of drone flying, is to figure out one of those, but I'm still figuring out the normal camo drones. So I'm waiting on that. I've heard they're fun, and everyone I've talked to who've thrown them love them. So we have a guy at DroneDJ who he he does some stuff, video FPV stuff, and he loves them, and he can build them all out. And dude's super smart.
Last piece of news this week. Earlier we covered a story on drones combating rats from different islands. Right now we're seeing drones combating invasive plants or invasive species, I guess.
Yeah, this is interesting. Like the next step down in the Galapagos Islands, that they're using kind of drones as their frontline kind of like surveillance of the island, and making sure that their ecosystem is not being overran by anything. It looks like, though, they're using Inspire 1 and the Mavic Pro to kind of like handle this type of work, which older drones.
Both are older drones. Yeah, both
Yeah.
Inspire 1 and Mavic Pro are older drones.
You could probably buy them in bulk, more of them though. If you're surveilling an entire island, you probably need a good amount of them. And if you lose one, you don't want to be waiting. I bet shipping down at the Galapagos Island is not cheap. It's not it's not one day Amazon Prime. Or same day. So
I wonder if they did any modification. I mean, this picture, hard to say if it was Inspire 2 or Inspire 1. I mean, they're both similar shape, just different color. But I wonder if they did any modification on the camera or put at any different cameras, because what we saw from some of the scientific operations was they were using different cameras, either infrared or multi-spectrum, because they're trying to detect the species. Like if you look at the pictures here, they're highlighting the potential species, right? So both Inspire 1 and the original Mavic Pro, they're not built for mapping. So I wonder if they just switch up the camera with something that's more suitable for them.
They're also pairing this with satellite imagery. So hey, I'm a space guy. I know a lot about this. So there's a lot of different. They have multispectrum and thermal, and not thermal, but multispectrum spectral images on those, and they're really good. And they can pinpoint out like the different plants or different species on there, and they can probably pair this with the regular imagery of the drones and kind of get like, okay, well, this is what it looks like at a higher level and much less detail. And then here's what the drone's taking photo. They could probably merge them together and be like, okay, here's a more detailed, you don't need to have the multi-spectrum camera on the Inspire. You can just kind of like look at the data from the satellites and pair it up.
Right. Or identify, areas of interest through the satellite images and then go see the details from a drone.
Yeah. And I mean, satellite images are getting really, really good to the point where, you probably don't need drones. A lot of farmers might not even need drones. But having that just maybe a couple hundred feet above the tree line, just to get some more closer up images, is probably very, very nice.
Well, that's all the news we've got for you this week. As the flying season begins, we'll circle back next week, and every week we're going to add a little bit of flight review of our own.
Yeah, hopefully I can get my RC Pro working, but I've been getting out there with the Air 2S and the Mini 3 more often, so it's been fun.
We'll see you back here next week.